Hey guys, welcome back. It's episode 4. Um, I've given you months and months to let episode 3 sink in. It was a heavy one, I know. I had almost 300 listens. That's a new record. That's pretty good for starting off. I'm sure you're wondering how I've been, what's happened. Have I been successful in my journey? I mean, it's been a few months. I should be in peak condition, right? Well, that's not true. That's not where I am. I'm more content. You might also be wondering if I'm vegan, because I feel like I was really pushing the vegan in the last episode. I felt like I was all about the vegan. I'm not. I do like vegan food, aka vegetables, and I'm trying to eat more of them and, moderate the bad stuff a lot better, trying to avoid, eating meat all the time, which I think if we all did, we'd all improve. The environment would improve. So that's the last I'll say about that, though, because I don't want to nag. If you want to hear what my weight's at right now, if you haven't been checking in on my progress bar on my podcastfatboy.com site, a few weeks ago I weighed in at 216. What the fuck? I started at 213. I've gained 3 pounds. I went down to 209. Now I was 216. I'm supposed to lose weight, not gain it. But don't worry, that was a few weeks ago, and I have used that as a wake-up call. I'm now sitting back at 213, otherwise known as back to fucking square one, since that's where I started. But at least I'm going down again. Man, it's like once I went over 215, I'm like, man, I'm getting closer to 220. I'm getting closer to 300. Oh, is that what's going to happen? Is that the end goal? Me in a year's like, well, I've done it. I'm 360 pounds. Can't feel my face anymore. But they did put me into a bit of a shock. So I got to try some different things. Obviously, I took a break from working out. So the last time I was on the show, I was talking about how I use this app, Map My Ride. And it was like helping me get on the bike and cycle around. And obviously, that's just too much work for me. Too many hills. So the same company has Map My Walk. There's a little appetizer for you.
Ooh, appetizer!
So, and the good thing about this app is that it's from the same company, and there's also a Map My Run if you want to be that psycho. But the feed is all together. So it doesn't matter what app you use, you'll get to see how many calories and how many kilometers and everything else that you've been doing in the same feed. So it's all intertwined. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I can do bike this day and walk this day. So I'm trying to walk. I've started walking like humans are supposed to. And, I've gone from some days not really walking more than, 100 feet to, at least 4 kilometers a day. So I'm trying to keep that up. I feel like that's a lot easier. And then starting to go to the gym again, just getting back into the routine of that. You fall off the wagon with this stuff. Everybody does. That's the good thing about going to a rec center, because it's super cheap and you get like a 3-monther and say like it expires. You're not paying for it, man. So, I got all kinds of excuses for being lazy. The other thing I did was I made a major purchase. I bought what you call a Vitamix. Now, what is a Vitamix? For the blender connoisseur, it's a fancy blender. It's probably the most expensive blender you will ever purchase in your life, but it is the best blender. It is unbelievable. And if you're going to be drinking the kale and all that stuff, you want to get a really good blender. And these have a 7-year warranty on them. So yeah, it's a good investment. It's going to cost you $1,000, but now I'm, if I can't sit and eat my vegetables, I'll drink them, darn it. So those are a couple of changes that I've made, because you got to be like, okay, what's working for me? What's not working for me? But once again, I got work because of my out of shapeness. I'd like to thank everyone for their praise and support of my little guardian angel campaign for Hyundai. And I'd like to thank the Enocean team there, the ad agency behind it. They have been superb. I've had a great time. Everywhere I've gone to do something, I've had donuts waiting for me. They love me eating donuts. It's a big thing for, I really sell that very well. So that was a lot of fun. And it just kind of shows you that, you know, it could be worse, right? What if I lose all this weight and then how am I going to I won't get these kind of roles anymore, and I really enjoy them. But, life goes on. Now, I got to talk about this because it's very fresh. It's at the forefront of our minds. And I will tie it into the show. But Robin Williams, he passed away the other day. It's pretty awful. I mean, I feel like everybody, not just the fact that it looks like he took his own life, but that he's gone. It's like he's just, everybody talks about how he was the voice of their childhood. We grew up with him, You can really feel the hurt that has spread across the world. Like billions of people are thinking about Robin Williams today, which is wild. I feel like with Robin Williams, it's like as like a performer and an actor, it's like he did it all. He's what we all want. We want to be able to, for comedians, it's like to be hilarious and funny and be good at that. And then for me, I always like when I first started out, it was like I've always had an interest in doing more dramatic stuff. I enjoy doing that, and that's what he did so well. He could swing back and forth, and whenever you go see one of his movies, you just have to, if the title doesn't give it away, you got to wonder if it's like, oh, what Robin am I going to get? And it's always entertaining. He had such a great vulnerability about him, and like we use all his movies as like to use a timeline in your life. Like I remember my dog being neutered because I was watching Hook when my parents brought him home. That's my Hook memory. And Mrs. Doubtfire came out when my parents got divorced. And I remember that feeling of, my mom's not going to be around as much. Will she dress up as a nanny? Oh my God, just thinking of my mom as Mrs. Doubtfire is quite a scene. But, I mean, I'm sure, I feel like those are some sad memories I have tied to Robin Williams, but I'm sure there are positive ones too. He really just was a joy to watch, and I think I'll miss him greatly for sure. How it ties in with the show, it's just like talking about depression and stuff like that, and how this podcast in a way kind of came. Part of it, a small part of it came from a personal level for me, kind of dealing with my own depression and, trying to feel better about myself by getting in better shape and using the podcast to inspire other people that aren't feeling good about themselves, and trying to bring humor to all the senseless insecurities that we have because of all the media pressures and stuff that have been ingrained in us over the years. Like depression. It's something I've dealt with for my entire 20s. It's just the best way to label it. I'm glad that my 20s are going to be over soon. Everyone tells you to talk to someone, but it's like way harder than it sounds. It's just, most of the time it's just brooding in your mind for me anyways. And, in my early 20s, I remember this. This ties in with our guest on the show today. His name is Adam Cawley. He is a comedian. He's a Canadian Comedy Award winner. I've known him. We started out together, and we were roommates when we in our early 20s. Now, Adam lived in a place called a fraternity, and he, at the end of our first year of college, was like, oh man, you gotta move in here. This place is great. It's super cheap. Everything's included. We got a personal chef. And I was like, that sounds like a great first place to live. So I don't even think I saw the place. I was just like, just get me in. I just want to be on my own. Moved in there. It's a gross fraternity. Personal chef, boils chicken. That's his forte. And Cawley is a part of the fraternity. He joined it in the first year, and I decided not to. I decided I didn't want any part of it because it wasn't for me. Let's just put it that way. And I ended up staying as a boarder, which when you stay as a boarder in a fraternity, they kind of look at you like, oh, you think we're stupid? You think we're gay? So they kind of, shit outside your door or, just make your life hell a little bit. It wasn't all that bad because I lived in the basement in the boiler room. Pretty much, that's not why it was better. But across the boiler room was Adam. So we had the basement to ourselves. But living there, it was very depressing. And, I was in a relationship who I met through Adam. I feel like all my depression is back to Adam Cawley. I think I just had a therapy breakthrough. No, just kidding. That wasn't his intention, I'm sure. But anyways, I started to get really bad. I remember this heaviness of like waking up in the morning and just feeling overcome with grief, like going to bed feeling like shit, and then like remembering my dreams where it felt nice, and then waking up and it just kind of hits you like that. And you're like, oh, I just want to go back to bed. And it took me to talk to someone. I just kind of blurted out one day how awful I felt to Adam when we were playing NHL, which we did a lot on our PlayStation 2. And, that was the first step, and then I went and talked to somebody and stuff like that. But yeah, it that taking that first step just to get it out there, to blurt it out so someone else hears you and kind of, has a response, it does help. So don't be afraid. Your friends are there for you. That being said, what brings us to today's theme of the show. After we lived together in college, I recently lived with him again in the early 10s, shall we say? And I didn't see him that much. Like, we see each other throughout the year and stuff. We keep in contact. But then when I moved back in with him, I saw that he had an addiction to protein powder, which is what we're going to talk about protein today a little bit. I was literally tripping over protein canisters everywhere. Like he had like it smeared on his upper lip. He was sprinkling it on his cereal. Fiber and protein. That was just like his heroin. But we talk about where he is at now and his regimen. I think it sounds like he's cooled his jets a bit. And he's definitely been one of the hardest workers I've known, especially since we were in college and stuff. The guy doesn't stop, and he's very disciplined, and he sets goals, and he nails them out of the park. And, it's good to have friends to show you how to do that when, you don't. Anyways, we had a fun little chat, and enjoy the show.
Who's a fat boy? Hey!
Podcast Fat Boy.
Like, do you do any Irish sports?
No, actually, my dad was specifically didn't want us to do any Irish sports.
Really?
Yeah, because he's like, if you're not Irish, like he wanted us to play Canadian sports.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was really important to him.
What was it due to? How rough Irish sports are?
No, just the fact that he didn't want it to be like a secondary passion. He wanted to like he wanted me to experience my own country's sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just stick with hockey and
We stuck with-
lacrosse?
Yeah, it was hockey, lacrosse, and snowshoeing.
And snowshoeing being your favorite that you excelled in?
Yeah, I played semi-pro.
If you're just tuning in, pretending that this is like on the radio, you definitely, if you want to be here, you've made that choice. So you're definitely tuning in. But I'm here with a Canadian Comedy Award winner. He's a Second City alum, stars and writes on the hit Bite TV show Guidance. He's an award-winning St. Patrick's Day float master.
That's true.
Thought about that one.
Why didn't you lead with that?
I like the idea of being when people ask us that we do that, I was like, oh, we just follow the floats. We were dancing on the floats.
No. We're award winners.
Award-winning float masters.
Yeah.
If you haven't guessed already, that is metrosexual comedian Adam Cawley.
Can I get your favorite hobby?
Adam Cawley.
Can I get something you plug in the morning?
Adam Cawley.
Can I get something you tie your shoes with? Laces, thank you.
I was trying to think on what I could use for you, and I came across that, and it reminded me. Adam and I have been roommates twice.
Oh, yeah.
First time in college,
Very different experiences.
and I used to go to a lot of your improv shows
Right,
when
yeah.
when you were doing like all the old Bad Dog Theater stuff.
Yep.
And I just always remember like it starting with like the lights dimming, then like this would play. So like there'd be one guy in the.
Really, really.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Very white Stevie Wonder head shake. Like,
And it was just always funny. Like I just always think I was like, can I get a?
what's a reason be?
So I figured that suits you well because you are a very talented improviser.
Oh, thanks.
Been doing it for many a years now.
Yeah.
Do you have like a position that you like to play in? Are you like the supporting guy? Are you the
I guess it depends what kind of show you're doing. The main show I do right now is a show called Mantown, and we often talk about it like kind of like the X-Men,
yeah,
where it's like everybody's great, but everybody serves a different purpose,
yeah,
right? Like if you have two Cyclops, then you have two leaders and they don't mesh.
yeah?
So
you can't have two Cyclops.
yeah, so so you need to balance it out, and so yeah, I'd say I'm a as hard as it sounds, like a Wolverine Cyclops mix, where it's like you can be a little anarchist, but if you really need some structure, I can come in there and lay some structure down.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's something I noticed you do really well is you can and rescue people, I think too.
Yeah,
I think you're good at getting out of those awkward situations sometimes. I guess you don't like you're always performing with a really skilled group of guys or girls now, but back in the day when it was about doing like a lisp or something.
Oh, when in doubt, lisp it up.
Yeah, I remember I think I did an improv show a couple years ago, and the only thing in my head was like, don't do a gay guy, don't fall into.
Oh man, gay guy, pirate.
Oh.
Yeah, there's so many classic characters.
Like I feel like nobody does like disabled people. I feel like that's only kids when they think that they're in a.
Yeah,
People do. They don't.
I think there's a when you do it for a long time, you start to realize certain bits that people have.
Yeah.
Like if someone's just been sitting for a long time in a scene,
Mm-hmm.
they'll just turn it into a wheelchair
Yeah.
and just try and like shock people. Like, what? He was at a wheelchair that whole time? There's little jokes that are like there if you need them. You know, if you're doing like a corporate gig and it's not going well, turn a chair into a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Great, that'll always win.
Is improv the one you enjoy most out of sketch? Like, because you did Second City for a long time.
Improv, like I always describe Second City, where you do a 90-minute sketch show and then a half-hour improv show.
It's insane.
Um,
Every night.
Every night and twice on Saturdays.
Ooh.
And now twice on Sunday or Fridays.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's
Do they get
8 shows a week.
Do they get 2 days off now?
No.
They still do Sunday.
Still do Sunday. They get Monday off.
Monday.
But yes, for me the meal was the sketch show and the dessert was the improv show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was your reward for a hard day's work.
And you're pretty amped up at that point too. So
Pretty amped up, sometimes pretty drunk, and you're just excited to go.
secrets from the stage. Well, I've always when we were in college together, I remember like we all got it was a bit of a mean course.
Yeah.
At times. And we all got something that for some reason people, like there was something that you'd get picked on for.
Right.
And I used to make a lot of funny faces and stuff, and that was my thing.
And sounds.
And sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason you got called a metrosexual. Do you remember that?
I do, and I think it was Rob Trick who like
Rob, a teacher started it?
yeah, and because he tried to get everybody to find their voice.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, this is your thing. You're the guy who does this.
Yeah.
And when I was up there, I guess, I mean, it was my first year of college ever. I didn't know what I was doing. I was
Yeah.
like, I guess you try to dress well.
Yeah.
And he,
Groom your
he's the
facial
one who
hair.
said metrosexual to me. And I don't know I mean, this is 2003 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that term even lasted. I don't know if it's still around as a term.
Think so.
But I guess it was someone who dressed stereotypically gay
Yeah.
or well, but was straight.
Yeah, I guess.
So I think that it seems like a very inappropriate term now, but that was the only way I think older straight men knew how to quantify someone who dressed well.
And you were our guy.
I was
in
the guy.
program.
Yeah.
Who occasionally wore a dress shirt and shaved his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. I had a jawline.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was like, whoa, who's this jawline dude?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I feel like I could have been also called that because I used to wear a lot of like fitted dress shirts a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Back then, but because I already had the faces and the sound
Yeah,
effects.
you can't be metrosexual and be like, ooh, ooh.
It's a car skidding. I think people were afraid of me at first a little bit too.
I think everybody was afraid of everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, after a few weeks, you realize the first day I remember looking at everybody around the room and trying to,
Yeah.
like, unfairly, but label them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, you're going to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
And then, like, 3 weeks later, I was like, I don't think I'll ever talk to you for the rest of the term. Like, I have no interest in you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relating back to your fitness history at that time.
Oh, my God.
Were you going to the gym? Were you prepping for college? Like, what's your history been like? Were you a soccer player growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I was always playing one sport in the winter, one sport in the summer.
Yeah, as was
Soccer
I.
and hockey. But I guess a lot of my fitness stuff happened just like all of my life, based on my parents' divorce.
Yeah.
But it sounds funny, but it's like when you look back at like growing up, I didn't have any or very few meals cooked for me.
Yeah.
I'd never learned how to cook. So it was a lot of like fast food, a lot of just make do. Like you're hungry, there's no one home, you're by yourself. It's like, well, I guess I'll have chips. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's where the whole train started, I think. But like I didn't really understand fitness. I didn't understand health. I didn't understand anything. And I guess it never really occurred to me that I might need to until high school when I was like, oh, I like girls.
Yeah.
Girls don't like weird looking kids. They like muscle kids from Tiger Beat.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try and be a Tiger Beat guy.
So you started working out? Started working the guns a
Kind
little?
of. Like I remember being 10 and like going to the grocery store and not understanding anything, but being like, "Oh, Mom, can we get Slim Fast?" And she'd be like, "What are you talking about?" It'd be like, "Oh, I've seen commercials where it's like, oh, you look better after Slim Fast."
Yeah.
And like understanding that I wanted to look better, but not understanding how to do it or why I was doing it or anything. So it started
Yeah.
really young.
That's interesting that you saw that as like a potion.
Oh,
It was probably from like watching cartoon shows at the same time too, like The Simpsons and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just think that you can take some elixir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. It's funny how like I feel like the Canadian method is because we have the change of seasons. You do your sport in the winter and you do your sport in the summer.
Yeah.
And it was like hockey, and then for me it was baseball.
Right.
And I still have a hard time finding baseball. Like I'm not a huge baseball fan, but like I went to a Jays game recently, and it just doesn't look like a lot of exercise.
No, I can't. Like Prince Fielder is on the cover of the body issue of like Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
And he's huge.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying that a lot of them are super fit, like they're professional athletes,
Yes.
but like a lot of guys that go to that mound are like
It's we shouldn't say baseball players are not fit,
Yeah.
but you have the option
Yeah,
to not be fit.
that's true.
Very few sports you have that option.
That's true. To be called a professional athlete, you can still be called that and like be like 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah, I guess football, like a linebacker or whatever.
Yeah, the line. Yeah.
But hockey, soccer, tennis, like there's no way.
No, like I mean,
Golf, I guess.
the only hockey player I can think of is Aki Berg. He was a little overweight. He was a bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he was a number 6 defenseman, so.
Yeah, not a lot of playing time there.
Jeez. I, like you as well, I grew up with an athletic father. Your dad was a hurling player.
Yep.
Did you do Gaelic football or just
Yep,
hurling?
you did both.
Oh, he did both?
Yeah.
What one was his better?
Hurling was the passion one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he play for Cork or just for Black?
He did.
Black Rock.
Oh, I thought you were going to stuff just for blacks.
Just for he's in a Blacks only
Blacks only league in Ireland. No, and for people who don't know hurling, I always try to explain hurling. It's only in Ireland. and it's the fastest field sport in the world. So I would describe it as lacrosse without equipment, and with instead of a net at the end of your stick, it's a flat pancake style piece of wood.
Yeah.
And you play with a ball, like a cork ball, and you boot it down the field.
Known as a slitter.
A slither.
Yeah.
And it's actually the evolution of the hockey stick.
Yeah.
If you go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, you'll see Hurleys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then you slowly see how they evolve into hockey sticks.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, my dad played hurling for Ireland and played in Croke Park, which is the third largest stadium in Europe.
Yeah.
When he was 15 playing for a 17-year-old team. So he was a big star.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
My uncle used to play for BlackRock. His
Oh,
dad
yeah?
was the coach. Now this is way back because this is my great uncle now. But he told me how they used to cheat in some ways depending on the wind.
Right.
They had different density of the slitter. That's the
Oh.
hurling ball, and they would depending on the way the wind was going. Some were like heavier, and they would say like his dad would say banish the ball. And he would just go and hit it off the side, and then they'd bring the new one in.
Hilarious.
Help them going the way of I guess if they're going with the wind.
Right.
So I found that interesting. It's like, of course they found a way to cheat.
Yeah.
What is it? Just like they grab it, like take a ball from the other team or whatever. Like I doubt they do that anymore.
And it's so funny with Irish people, like the way they talk, that even the idea of cheating sounds charming. It's like, banish the ball.
Yeah.
Go on, banish the ball, will ya? It's like, oh, what a nice cheater.
Take your points.
Yeah.
What is your current workout routine now? Now that you're, let's say, a fit improvising actor, one who's on the commercials quite a bit,
Right?
been on CTV's Spun Out
Yep.
with the great Jason Priestley.
Big thrill for my mom.
Big thrill for all of us.
Yeah.
I still watch a little Bev Hell.
Oh, who doesn't?
The one thing I noticed, you posted a picture with him, and I couldn't believe, like, it really showed not how old he looked, but how old they looked on that show playing teenagers. Like, they were like 25 playing grade 9.
Yeah.
Or something, you know?
I think, what's her name? Gabriella something?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
her name?
Gabrielle Cardini or something.
Something like that.
Andrea.
Yeah. She was like 30.
She
She was the oldest one.
30 playing high school.
Like 18. And in the States, they didn't have OAC at the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could be in the high school at like, you could be finished high school at like 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's wild how they do that, where I guess, like, yeah, you get a totally different show when you have adults playing younger characters, right?
Yeah.
You look at, they do obviously do shows with younger people. If you look at, like, all the vampire shows and stuff like that, they're typically younger, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think with a high school show, if the demographic is high school kids,
Yeah.
you want people who are cooler than the people who are watching it.
Yeah,
Because if
that's
you had
true.
like
Yeah.
11-year-old boys, they'd be
With
like,
acne
"Why am I
and-
watching?" Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, that picture, he looked. I'm like a foot taller than him,
Yeah.
and I think he was in like a car accident.
He was in a really bad car accident.
Yeah.
He was racing.
Yeah.
He was on a track, but yeah, I remember that. That happened maybe 12 years ago or something,
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was just a little bit after the show ended. I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember just hearing, he's like, yeah, it took a long time. He fought through like Tracy is now. Tracy, my friend Tracy Morgan, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, Paul Tracy? Who are you?
Sorry, my pal Tracy
Yeah,
Morgan.
I forgot you guys
He's
are
going through a
pals.
hell.
Yeah.
But sorry, what would you say you do now? What's part of your regimen?
So about 4 months ago, I was purely working out at the gym, and I had a trainer a few years ago, and so I learned some basic form and stuff like that. So I was just doing weight training, and I was putting on some size, but my battle has always been my midsection, and so I've always been like, oh man, I would love to like tighten that up. And so talking with a friend, he's like, oh, you should try Insanity. And I was like, what is Insanity?
Is that like a P90X type?
It is. It's
Oh.
exactly like P90X without the equipment.
You just
so
get like a chin bar?
No, you get nothing.
Nothing.
So you wouldn't put on a lot of muscle, but you would burn through like an exercise burns like 1,000 calories.
Wow. That's a pound of fat.
Yeah, a pound is 3,500.
A pound is 3,500 calories?
Google it.
Man, what was I reading?
I don't know.
That is why I have a disclaimer on my website.
You are not a trained doctor. I am not a dietitian.
50 calories in a pound. Doing my best.
Hey, eat a couple donuts. That's breakfast. And so he challenged me to that, and I did it. I did 2 months, 5 to 6 days a week doing insanity, and it is the hardest thing I've ever done, exercise-wise.
Yeah.
And so it's basically just running and jumping and sprints and push-ups and all this stuff. And so it's a DVD collection broken up into 2 months.
You do it at home?
No, I would never do it at home. I don't know how someone would does it at home. So being a member of the Second City Toronto faculty, during the day, if the studios are empty, we just went in and used it. So we have a huge improv studio, and we pull down the what do you call it? We put a DVD in, and we have it. What do you call it?
You've a VCR and
It's a DVD player that's hooked up to a projector.
Oh.
That's it. And we pull down a screen, and we've got like a big sound system.
Yeah.
And so we put on the DVD, and we work out in this huge room.
Oh wow! Like there's a bunch of you that get in there.
It started with a bunch of us, and everybody else quit.
Yeah.
So now it's me and this other guy. And it's just two of us. And so I did that for 2 months, and I saw huge improvement, but I also lost a lot of muscle. So now, and it didn't get me 100% where I wanted to be, but it got me like a better version of my midsection I'd ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
And so after a while, my knees started to get really bad. So now, currently, I'm doing 3 days a week insanity, 3 days a week weight training.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it
That's
is.
a lot. You drink a lot of water?
Yep. Yeah, I've got a lot of water. I'm drinking my Brita water right now.
Now, like, do you find that, as far as like working as an actor, you like, have you ever thought about becoming a fat comic and what it would take?
Oh man,
Like
like
approaching your 30s that way?
when I see people who have embraced that lifestyle and are happy with it, as they should be,
Yeah.
I envy them so much.
Yeah.
Like when I see people like at certain restaurants or just behaving that way night to night or whatever, like even like Instagram where it's like, oh, having this for lunch. I'm like, how are you fucking having that for lunch?
Yeah.
That life would be amazing to me. So yeah, I think about that. I don't think I could ever, like, it would be fun for like a few months, and then once you hit a bottom point for me, I'd be pretty down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Ever since I moved back into the city, when I moved back into your place for, I guess that was early 2011, and then I started to gain weight.
Right.
I started to gain a lot of weight. But then I also became more successful,
Right.
which is the double-edged sword. And it's funny because like I just shot this Hyundai commercial stuff, and it was like after 3 days I went into the headquarters and I met the president and stuff like
Oh
that.
my God.
of
Is this for the
Hyundai.
angel thing?
For the angel thing?
Yeah.
And I met the VP of Hyundai, and the first thing he said to me, because I was wearing a medium shirt, they had me in
Okay.
a small shirt the whole time to accentuate my shape a little more.
Right.
And the first thing he said to me was, "You look slim." Like I felt like he was gonna like pull the commercial or
Right,
something. Like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is I was like, no, don't worry. I'm just
Don't
wearing a
worry,
medium right
sucking
now.
it in.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just trying to be better. So it's interesting to see like there, like it is a very superficial industry, and like there are types and stuff,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially you do a lot of commercials too, and I feel like I'm in kind of like the brawnier category now, where
Right.
it's like they like the kind of like friendly Galifianakis guy with beard
Right. Right.
approach, right? Whereas like you might go and get like one of the slicker
Right.
dudes, like like your car commercial is you're a bit goofy in it though.
Yeah,
There's a goofiness to that.
Yeah, I like I'm in a gravel one right now where I'm playing a guy getting married.
Okay.
And then the
there
guy
you go.
behind
See?
me is like the goofier guy who's
Yeah.
like sick to his stomach
Yeah.
and needs gravel. I'm like,
Yeah.
here, take this fucking gravel, you idiot.
Stop being
I don't
like
need
an
this
asshole.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And we are in like a now with the internet and everything, it's like I feel like it's a lot harder to eat poorly guilt free, because we know we can look up so much. We know that like even the things that we thought were healthy, aren't.
This whole fat thing, like non-fat, low
Yeah.
fat. Like as a kid, I remember being aware of that because that was big in our like growing up with like Snackwell's cookies. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, no fat. And so I I didn't know much about it, but I learned that jubes and like wine gums and all gummy candies had no fat in it. So I was like, I can eat a million of these. So I didn't understand carbs or sugars or anything, but like 5 jubes is like 150 calories, like
Yeah.
60 grams of sugar, like way worse than anything.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand it because they were told like you can like high fat is bad.
Yeah.
Where now it's completely reversed, and it's like you can eat all the good fats you want, like have your peanut butter and your almonds and
Or
all
avocados
yeah,
and- yeah.
do all that, but don't eat carbs. So it's so confusing because it's so in your face, and people are so. And even with the whole vegan movement,
Yeah.
everybody has an opinion about why something is so bad for you and why you shouldn't eat it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting because like the last show I did was on veganism, and it did throw me through a loop. I did watch, like, I talked a lot about the Forks Over Knives documentary and stuff like that. Have you seen that?
no,
It's pretty intense. It really just shows you how bad milk is.
right,
As well as just, yeah, I guess we just consume way too much meat protein.
right.
Like it's out of control. But still, it's like, you know, I don't think I could make that commitment. I don't know. Maybe it's just my lifestyle choice, but like I do enjoy in moderation having stuff, and
Yep.
I think moderation is something that we need to start professing a little bit more, and not being like, oh, I'm a vegan or I'm a vegetarian, or it's just like more of it being percentages. Like, are you getting enough vegetables and stuff like that?
Right,
You know,
right.
it's like you got to think of it that way instead of it having all these stigmas back and forth, like these two different cultures that want to start a war.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Have you heard of the 4-Hour Body?
No.
So this is a guy named Tim Ferriss who's written 3 major books: The 4-Hour Workweek, The 4-Hour Body, and The 4-Hour Chef. And it's all about getting the most amount of output with the minimum amount of input.
Okay.
So the 4-Hour Body, I became obsessed with. And one of he's got like 5 major rules where it's pretty simple things like no white carbohydrates, no sugar. Oh God, I can't remember the other ones now. I just don't even do them. But one of his major things that I still follow is cheat day. And so you'll see this every once in a while on
I
like
have
Facebook
seen
or
that on-
Instagram
yeah.
or something.
Like cheat day
So
having a...
yeah, so I do Sunday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I eat extremely healthy.
Yeah.
And I will count my calories. I will no bread, no
Really?
yeah, no alcohol, no sugar, no anything. But when Saturday comes along, I go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Everything you ever want. And theoretically, it's good for you. Because if your body notices what you're doing over the week, it's like, oh, you only give me this amount of calories. I'm going to slow down what I burn
Yeah.
because this is all you're going to give me.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
then if you shock it, it's like, oh my God, what did you do to me? I'm
Yeah.
going to burn 4 times as much as normal.
Yeah.
And then you do it for one day. And then it's like still doing it on like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. What happened to all my calories? I'm going to go back to normal.
Like, do you get, like, you have to deal with being hungry?
Not so much hungry. I plan out my meals accordingly.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm not so much hungry as I am craving things.
Yeah.
So during the week, it's like oh man, like I want pizza and like even bowls of cereal. I really miss cereal.
Yeah. That's right.
But then on Saturday, like during the week, I'll write down things or I'll think of things or I'll plan like Saturday, we're going out to dinner. I'm going to order the bread. I'm going to get wine. I'm going to do this and that. And so I'm not restricting myself fully.
Yeah.
But during the week I do. And then Saturday, give myself freedom to do whatever I want. Like this Saturday, I had a Mr. Big.
Okay.
I had a Mr. Big. I had a big sausage. I had
Jeez.
a bunch of beers. I got really drunk.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was great.
So that, yeah. And then it feels good to, like, go back to eating healthy, and you feel like you're kind of cleaning out your body a little bit.
And part of it is you eat and drink till you're sick. Like not literally throwing up, but like till you're like, oh God, I don't want to ever eat like it's like being hungover.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to eat like that again. And so it gives you motivation to go back to the gym, to go back after a day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason that I actually brought you here today.
Oh no.
The real reason. This usually works better with a crowd. It's to get us into the next topic of discussion.
Boy.
And I noticed something that when I moved in with you the second time. So I am here to give you an intervention on protein powder. I've noticed that you've put that stuff on almost everything you eat.
No, I never put it
You
on
put
anything.
it. You put it on your cereal.
Oh, I put it in water and shake it up.
Yeah.
And then I'll use it as a liquid topping for things that require liquid topping.
So you still have this problem. You're still having a lot of protein.
I at least have 2 protein shakes a day.
At least 2.
Yeah.
Now, do you use a low cal thing?
Yeah, it's low cal, high fiber, low low carb, low cal, high fiber, high protein. New Zealand clean whey protein.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I found it interesting that. Just stop it abruptly.
That really scared me. It was like, you brought me here for a reason. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
and then your family comes out, and
Yeah.
Danny's here, and your parents, your mom and dad are holding hands for the first time since before the divorce.
Now I'll eat healthy, Mom.
Yeah, the one thing I want to talk about was protein shakes, and I find that when I used to train and stuff, I was around people that like kind of lived off it, and I was always kind of like, is this something that I should be drinking all the time? And like I've tried different ones. I have a gigantic bucket behind you somewhere.
Oh boy.
That like I've barely made a dent in. But when I was at GNC, the guy was like, "Oh, you'll be back in like a month." I'm like, "Really? All that protein powder?"
Yeah.
Like it says to just do it once a day, once or twice. Like what? So he's just assuming like don't listen to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what people may not understand is that there are different kinds of these shakes out there.
Yeah.
So like, there's the ones where it's like mega gain.
Yeah.
Where it's like 1 scoop is like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's fucking crazy. But that's for people who are massive bodybuilders who need calories.
Do you drink it with water or do you drink it with milk?
Water.
Yeah. See, that's a big difference too, because like it adds like I usually drink it with almond milk,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
still like it adds calories, right? So
Totally.
it's like a
Or if it's
it's 150 calorie shake or something like
Yeah.
that, maybe 200 calories.
I would do 2 scoops, and mine is 240 calories
240 calories
and 50 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're getting your amount of protein.
But I mean, the thing for me, aside from how weird it is that I don't eat a lot of meat.
That's true.
So that
That
it
is
is
true.
a need
Yeah.
for me.
And like, I mean, before it is an essential nutrient. Like I feel like everybody does kind of. There's always one of the nutrients that is under fire. It's always like carbs has been kind of the main one.
Yeah.
Lately, still something you need.
Yeah.
But I found an article from naturalbalancefoods.com.
Okay.
I only go to the best, just for people to know what the protein does. It maintains a healthy body. It helps repair any internal or external damage. It supports your immune system. It just contributes to the overall feeling of well-being. And at a cellular level,
Oh, okay.
proteins are used for just about everything.
Oh.
Preserving, repairing essential life functions, all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, yeah, like I understand there's nothing wrong with having a protein shake. I am just making fun of you a little bit because I noticed that you would go through them quite quickly.
Yes.
The like how that humongous bucket I have there, how long would that take you?
Well, the other thing to remember is that it's like a bag of chips,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like a bag of chips looks huge. You
Yeah.
open it up, it's
There's
only
not
half
a lot
full.
in there. It's
Same
true.
with protein powders.
Why do they do that? You know why? Are they just like
Maybe
being
I
like,
don't know. I really
we
don't
could
know.
fill it to the top, but
Well, because it says the
Too
weight
heavy?
on it,
yeah,
and they're usually about 2.5 pounds.
yeah,
So I have no idea why they put them in massive
probably it.
bags, but yeah. So I would definitely have 2 a day. So yeah, I would definitely go through it in a month for sure.
I remember once I was trying to, when I lived with you, I got a vegan kind, and I got
Those are never good.
I got you to try it, and it was like it tasted like cake batter.
Yeah.
I just remember like. I remember specifically not what it tasted like, but watching you drink it, have a few sips of it, and it was just like it literally looked like green cake batter and tasted like it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I use it for after workouts and stuff too, because it does help with when your muscles are going through hypertrophy, and you want those fibers to repair.
Yep.
You need some protein to get
Yeah,
get that up. Now there are some dangers
okay.
of protein powder consumption that may be disputed, but they are being discovered that like people that just go way too overboard with it, such things as like excess calcium loss. It may harm kidney function if you're overdoing your body with protein.
Yeah.
Then just like as you said, if you use a good protein powder, it's fine. But if you use like a cheaper, crappy one, or if it's the problem is that they're not regulated by like the FDA or anything, so they can kind of be a little wobbly with the ingredients and stuff. Sometimes.
Totally.
So sometimes they can have heavy metal contamination, stuff like that, like arsenic or cadmium or lead, mercury, all that junk.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you just it's like 25% of your daily calories can be protein.
Yeah.
Not just from shakes, but from everything that you eat.
Yeah.
And so that's quite a bit. That's like for a 150-pound person, I think it's like 170 grams or something like that.
Yeah.
140, 170.
It's something like you times your every pound
2.2.
by 1.8 or 2 or
yeah. Another thing that I want to talk about. Now, this comes from DavyWavy.com.
Oh, man.
Now, Davy Wavy, he sounds like a silly guy.
No, is he
But
not?
Davy Wavy is a certified trainer.
Okay.
And a YouTube sensation.
Oh.
But he talks about something that I wonder if you wanted to talk about this a little bit. But when you were at Second City, when you left, everybody, your castmates give you gifts and whatnot. Now you have one gift that was a painting. You remember it's a very creepy painting.
Oh yes, yes.
Right. And I guess it said it was a weird. You look like the Joker a little bit, as from what I remember. It's this crazy painting.
It's me.
Yeah, it's you.
It's from the poster, but my friend Anessa Frantowski gave it to a guy. I think his name is Aitor.
Yeah, Aitor, yeah.
And he does something called ugly portraits.
Yeah.
So he takes.
So it was on purpose.
Oh yeah. So he takes nice pictures of people and makes ugly versions of them in drawing form.
Underneath it, in a cloud of green smog, it says tofu farts.
Yes.
Now, I think that it wasn't the tofu. Like, I think I saw that you had tempeh a little bit, but with having a lot of protein powders and everything, it might produce a noxious smell.
Yeah.
And it can mean any number of things, but that is a source of... maybe we should get him to redo it, protein farts, but tofu farts.
No, because when I was on main stage, I think I was trying to eat healthier.
Yeah.
So I would go to a lot of these like organic delis and get tofu at Second City.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was being extremely healthy and getting like really nice stuff like that. But then at like 6 p.m., then your night starts.
Yeah.
And so at Second City, you're there 7 nights a week. So we were getting drunk. We were eating horribly. So I think it was a terrible mix of like, I also didn't understand like aspartame and like I was drinking so much Diet Pop. Like it was crazy.
Oh, I know.
Because you also get it for free at Second City. So I just kept drinking Diet Pop and like getting drunk. But then, so I think that probably had something to do with it.
I've really tried to stay off of having like a rye and Diet Coke
and
stuff. It's like one of my favorite drinks to have. And I've like tried going to soda water.
Yeah.
It's
rough.
It's a change. It's a change.
But 1 day a week. I only do it one day a week, and then I just
maybe
go
that's something I should take. I should have one, because now that I've got this Vitamix, I mean,
what's Vitamix?
Vitamix is the blender.
Oh, the blender, right.
So I'm like literally drinking salads and stuff, and like it doesn't feel like that. But like today I had a spinach smoothie, and like really it tasted like I was at the beach having a pina colada. So, but back to the protein shakes and farting. Just farts are hilarious to me. I do try to inject them as much as I can into the show.
That's good.
But if you're out there and you're at the gym in a leotard and you are taking a lot of protein shakes, you might have a lactose intolerance. You just might be using a bad kind of whey that your body
unclean
body has a hard time breaking down protein powders sometimes. So get the high quality stuff.
Yep.
And then really it brings us into our last segment of the show. You're a fan of David Letterman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This takes us to a segment, Top 10 Worst Foods for Farts.
Top 10 Worst Foods for Farts.
I was like, how long
Yeah.
is this jingle?
I had to cut it down from a half hour. But, so there's a lot of foods out there, and I don't want protein powder taking the brunt of it. Just to let you know, protein powder, not even on the list,
Okay.
but protein is definitely in a lot of these foods. So should we start it off with number 10?
Sure.
Number 10. French food.
All of French food.
Cheesy onion soup, steak and frites, mushrooms, frog legs, fatty duck, goose liver.
Well, how is that just one? How is that just number 10?
Never take a date to a French restaurant unless they really like your ass. Literally. Now, let me just say that this list is from...
Wavy Davy?
No, it's not from Wavy Davy. It's from the New Times Miami.
Oh, okay.
They obviously know they're smelly foods.
Yeah.
You know?
They got a lot of hot dates in Miami.
Number 9. Smoked oysters in a can. First of all, these are canned in cottonseed oil, an industrially produced food type. Welcome to Fart City there. That brings us to number 8. We get that snare in. Collard greens with ham hocks and bacon.
How is it that specific?
Somebody has sat down and had every meal in the world and then created some new ones, apparently, and these are the ones.
And I'd love to know the difference between French food and collard greens and ham locks or something.
Ham hocks.
Ham hocks.
And bacon.
So the guy's like, oh, I had some frog's legs. What's that, 10 farts?
It's fiber intense. It's super green.
Okay.
It has a distinct smell.
Oh, gross.
Add on some fatty meats with your collard greens.
Yep.
And you've got a recipe for building your own fartopolis.
Wow.
Brings us to number 7.
Okay.
Biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy.
Okay.
Says some gravy is actually it originated in ancient Egypt.
Okay.
I'd like you to know. What do you think Tut's revenge was when they opened his tomb? A 3,000-year-old fart. I think this is number 6. Brazilian rodizio, which is the it is the skewer of meat, the endless skewers of meat.
Oh, right.
So if you're just eating meat all night, you're probably eating
Having
10 pounds of meat, something like
Yeah.
that. Then that's gonna be awfully smelly. Still don't see any protein powder on this list.
No, that's good.
This one is something that I do enjoy. I don't know if you do. This one's nice. Ready? Number 5. Curry.
Ooh.
Curry apparently has some smelly stuff.
Yep.
It is a substitute term for flatulence. Like, dude, I just curried loud as shit. This is terrible.
Did you not read this before you started reading it on your podcast?
I stopped at top 10 list.
Okay.
Stuffed boiled cabbage.
Who is this person?
But you know what? I can understand that with cabbage. It's something that I ate when I was in Ireland a lot.
Yep.
Didn't really notice anything to have a fartosity. We've got a lot of fun fart words.
We should email this guy back and just be like,
Yeah.
man, your list was so insightful. Like, one time I thought I was in a fartopolis, but I was really in Fart City. Thanks, man.
I'll count down the last 3 real quick.
Okay.
All with the same roll.
Yep.
3, 2, and 1. We've got number 3, smoked fish.
Gross.
Number 2, green bean casserole.
What?
And number 1, pickled eggs from the gas station.
From the gas station.
That is your top 10 worst foods for farts.
Top 10 worst foods for farts.
Now, when you buy pickled eggs, it's always from the gas station. You get your smokes, you get your gas.
Yeah.
Pickled
eggs.
Pickled eggs. Specifically Red Smith brand, if
Yeah.
you can. So yeah, no protein powder there.
No, that's good.
Stuff you could put protein powder on.
Yep. I can put it on pretty much anything.
Cheat day.
Cheat day, man. It's the best. Look into it.
That's pretty much the end of the show. I would like to ask the listeners to check out Mantown's monthly show at the Comedy Bar for some hilarious award-winning improv.
Yeah.
Also, get your Just for Laughs pass, of course. Go see them in September 20th?
I think so, whatever the Saturday is.
Yeah, September 20th. As well as there's a ton of other cool acts like Paul F. Tompkins and Seth Meyers and
Amy
Schumer, all
yep.
those guys. And as always, check out podcastfatboy.com for listening to all the episodes. And that's pretty much it. Cawley, thanks for being on the show, man.
Oh, thanks, Matty Dunks.
If you haven't subscribed on iTunes, please do so. Please rate. I will have everything up on my website. I'll post an episode of Guidance so you can check out Cawley.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Take care.